Alright, today we're going to talk about Santa Claus. So, if you're familiar with the story of Santa Claus, he's known as Saint Nick and he lives in the North Pole. So, the North Pole is representative of the top of your head. So, because we're dealing with polar opposites. So, you got the top of your head and then you go to the bottom of your head. And the pole is basically your spine. So, what you're dealing with is Santa coming from the North Pole. He's known as Saint Nick when he's doing that. So Santa is representative of a saint or Saint Nick. But when he goes down, especially when then he ends up going down your chimney, down and giving up gifts, he becomes Satan. Because Saturn, that Saturn energy is what's ruling Earth. So Saturn became Satan in the mythologies. So basically the chimney is representative of your brain stem. And what he does, he goes down your brain stem and delivers gifts under your tree. Your tree is basically your spine. So these are the vertebrae, the leaves of the tree. On that tree, we put ornaments and lights on it. So what the ornaments and lights represent are actually your organs, your endocrine glands or organs, and the chakra system. So you have 7 main chakras. There are a lot of chakras in your body, but the main 7 is the root chakra, which is lined up with the adrenal and suprarenal glands, the sacral chakra with the ovaries and testes, the navel chakra with the pancreas, the heart chakra with the thymus, the throat chakra with the thyroid and parathyroid gland. The third eye chakra is with the pituitary, hypothalamus and thalamus glands, and the crown chakra with the pineal or epiphysis gland. Alright? So not only do we usually get gifts under our tree or at the base of our spine, we also get gifts in our stockings. So if I was to ask you what part of your body is the windows of the soul, everybody would say your eyes. Also, if I said what is the bottom of your feet called, you would say your soul. So we're dealing with a play on words. S-O-L-E is interchangeable with S-O-U-L, S-O-L, which is Latin for sun. So S-U-N, the son of man, and S-O-N is the same thing. So all these words are usually interchangeable in these allegories and mythologies. So as the story goes, he comes down the chimney, delivers these gifts. So gifts are representative of your latent abilities. The word latent and talent is the same word. So it's your potential. So what he's doing is delivering your potential gifts. If you don't wake up before you if you don't wake up before you perfect these gifts, I should say, or these talents. Because what happened with the story, what we were told was that Santa Claus was coming at midnight. And so we had to go to sleep usually about 10 o'clock or whatever, because basically, your parents want to deliver the gifts. So we were told that we weren't supposed to be up when he comes, or else we would get lumps of coal in our stocking and ashes in our eyes. So why ashes in the eyes? Because that's the window of the soul. Why lumps of coal inside our stockings? Because that's the base of our soul. So from our window, it goes in through the window and out through our feet. So that's why our soul is trapped in this body, this physical body. Now, what makes the coal so interesting is the fact that it's carbon, fossilized carbon. So you might want to go back on my video with melanin 666, the beast, because you're going to learn that it has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. All known life has carbon in it. So that's what the lumps of coal is basically saying. It's basically like our goal is to free ourselves and become more light beings like we were, instead of being trapped in these physical bodies. So that's what the story of Santa Claus is really about. So I'm going to move this down a little bit. So I just want to point out some other words. So you might notice that Santa Claus also arrives in a sleigh. The sleigh represents your body. The stockings I already mentioned as your soul. So basically, the sleigh is driven by 8 reindeer. Notice how the word reindeer is spelled? It's the same as the word reign without the G, reigning or ruling. The 8 reindeer are basically representative of the 8 original cells or the 8 ruling cells that are in your body. We have about trillions of cells in our body, but we start off as 1, then we end up splitting in half. That's what the Adam and Eve story is about. We end up becoming 2 cells, and then 4, and then 8, and then they keep doubling. But what happens is those original 8 never change. All the other cells in your body change throughout your life. They get rejuvenated. They die off and you get new cells. But the 8 original one, everyone has the same 8 original cells in their body. And they're located in the base of your spine. Right there where that Kundalini energy is. That Shakti energy is right there by your sacrum. So those 8 original cells, just Google it. You're going to know that I'm not just making this up. So in mythology, in Chinese mythology, you can look up the 8 immortals. So Google the 8 immortals. Prior to 1972, they were called the 8 genies. The reason why I pointed this out is because the word daemon or demon, if you look at the etymology, you got to start looking at the etymology of words, not the definition of words, because you can change the definitions as we go along. Like the word horrible and horrific mean the same thing with the root word horror, but terrible and terrific mean opposite, but they still have the same root as terror. So just know how people, the English language is a bastard language, so they can change words. Terrible and terrific should both mean bad things, just like horrible and horrific means two bad things. All right. So you want to look up the etymology of demon. It means genius or genies. It's really representative of your genes or DNA. I talked about this before. So these 8 immortals is also where the Wu-Tang Clan got their group, all their names and their ideas for the Shaolin Wars and so on and so forth. So they use this methodology. So they practice a little magic also. So you can Google that, the 8 immortals. In Kemet mythology, Kemet is really better known as Egypt. Egypt is the Greek word for Kemet, or the Black Land. They have what they call the Ogdode. In Greek, that means the eightfold. So we're dealing with the 8 cells again. If you Google the Ogdode, that is 4 male and female pairs. Okay, so all we're doing is talking about the 8 original cells. That's what the 8 reindeer. Don't count Rudolph. He came later because the game became popular because of the song or whatever have you. But it was originally only 8 reindeer, not 9. All right. I told you about the coal being left in your stocking. I also told you about, Christmas is December 25th. So we have 2 solstices. The word solstice means still sun, or the sun standing still. So that's where you get the allegory of Jesus being dead for 3 days. Because the winter solstice is 12/21 around that time. So on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of December, the sun appears to sit still or be dead. It then starts to rise, I think a minute or so every day. And that's where we get daylight saving times and so on and so forth. So we have a summer solstice, which is around June 21st. So what happens is the opposite of solstice is equinox, which means equal nights. Now that's around March 21st and September 21st. So what's happening there is, in wintertime we have longer nights because it's less sun in the wintertime. We have longer days in the summertime. So what happens, that's why we have daylight saving time, because we want to try to get it even so we won't be out when it's dark and so on and so forth, and vice versa. So that's where the allegory and the mythology of Jesus being dead for 3 days and then rising on the 3rd day. So we're just talking about the sun, the S-U-N, and they made it into a S-O-N. I told you those words are interchangeable. The Son of Man rising 3 days later. So we're talking about the physical sun. All right. So I'm going to move this back up. So let's go back to that picture. So just discuss briefly about the solstice and stuff. So I just drew a little smaller thing. So what you want to know is that Saturn or Satan rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So that's around December, January, and so on and so forth. So around the same time, before it was called Christmas, another holiday was called Saturnalia. Saturnalia. So you want to Google Saturnalia, you're gonna know that's when people's masters, they release their slaves for a day and let them drink. There's a lot of violence and so on and so forth. Just Google Saturnalia, get some more information on that. Because you want to know this mythology of Christmas and Jesus being taken literally. It all came about with this council called Nicaea. This guy named Constantine. He basically merged some of these holidays and mythologies and blended in with a little Christian myth. And he came up with making literal stories of Jesus being resurrected. But you should know by now, it's really talking about the sun. Jesus was not born, if you believe it was a real man named Jesus, was not born in December. Alright, so around this time, energy is very strong, and magic is practiced right around this time. We'll get into that in another video, but I just want to stick to the Santa Claus stuff. I mentioned in another video how the Latin word for winter is inverno, which later became inferno. Remember, there was no hell or nothing, heaven and hell in the Old Testament. Jews don't even believe in heaven and hell like that. Muslims also, they believe in like the hereafter, but that's some New Testament stuff. So it became like Dante's Inferno and the 7 hells and all that stuff like that physical stuff. There's no physical hell. So winter was so bad, even if you look at my Game of Thrones video, the whole show is about the winter is coming. Because remember, the nights are longer, it's cold, everything dies in the winter. So it's all about death. So in these allegories, winter represents death. And it also lines up. Winter, December 21st, also is representative on your clock as midnight. So that's why Satan or Santa comes at midnight and delivers these gifts. So you have to, in your dreams while you sleep, Before you wake up in the morning, see down here you're Jacob, up here you're Israel. So you get the light up here. You're a saint when you get illuminated. But if you wake up before you get illuminated, or before you do the work, before you open up or light up these 7 chakras, you get ashes in your eyes and you get lumps of coal in your stocking. So I'm just driving this point home. It's the same story in the Bible of Solomon. Remember King Solomon, the name Sheba means 7. So we're dealing with the 7 main chakras. Sheba would bring Solomon gifts. He got 666 talents of gold every year. There we go with that 666 again. So we're dealing with that carbon again, or the beast, or melanin. So, and talents, or his latent abilities. And remember, he dealt with demons also, 72 to be exact. There are 72 names of God, and then you have the 72 Goetia. I'll do a video on this later. But you got 72 demons. He basically uses what's in him, his genes, his genies. It's the same Aladdin video. I did a video on Aladdin, how Aladdin rubbed the lamp and got a genie. He had 2 genies in that story. So it's a similar story. So go check out my Aladdin video to get more on demons and so on and so forth. And what it means. Alright. I think I touched on everything. So just make you aware. That's what everything represents. Alright, I think I covered everything. Alright, hope you enjoyed. Thank you.